pre-laugh. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Apologetics 101. I'm Father Anthony Federico.
And I'm Regis O'Neill. Happy to be here with you, Father.
Regis, we are in the St. Bridget School swap shop.
The swap shop.
We've been having some fun with that phrase, the swap shop. Regis, before 8 minutes ago, did not know that this little building existed.
It's true. It's true. Father just brought this to my attention. It's on the edge of the school property, and I kind of just thought it was like a house. You know, somebody looked, the school borders on their backyard or something like that. But no.
We are in the swap shop. This is actually my first time inside the swap shop. You can see it's filled with clothing, the uniforms of the St. Bridget School students.
Right.
And if any parents are interested, you can always call the school to take advantage of the swap shop, especially as they transition over to their spring and summer uniforms. So all these beautiful clothing items are here for our students because, Regis, we're continuing our clothing theme.
Yeah, we've had this kind of part two thing going on, these two-parters going on for a little while now, so we thought it might be a good idea. After last week, we spoke about the vesting process, the vestments that the priest puts on when he's saying Mass, but there's something else that priests very often wear that you might notice. Perhaps something black, Father.
Perhaps. So we want to talk about this week, why does the priest wear black? Why does the priest wear a black suit with this little white collar? So I'm going to give you my thoughts on it. And what's beautiful about this, Regis, is there's not some ancient dusty book somewhere that says thou shalt wear black. Clerics, this is called the clerical suit or clerics. This is part of what the culture and the customs of the church. So I'm going to give you my interpretation of why we do it, but this is open for a lot of various interpretations. So Regis, here's what I think of when I'm getting dressed every morning.
Let's hear it.
So in our world, the creatures who wear collars are those who are to be led on leashes. So we take our dog for a walk. Fenway, by the way, today's Fenway's birthday.
Happy birthday, Fenway.
When Fenway goes for a walk, his collar gets attached to a leash, and then Father Romans leads him where he wants him to go.
Sure.
In the same way, the priest wears a collar because I don't lead my own life anymore. I am led by God. When I was ordained a priest, I sacrificed my ambitions, my initiative, my will, and put them in the hands of my archbishop. And now I follow God's will for my life through the decisions of my archbishop. So I'm led where he wants me to go. And the reason why we're black, I believe, is because, Regis, when in life do we often wear all black?
Funerals.
We wear black at funerals. When the priest gets dressed for the day, it's a reminder that my old life is dead. That part of me that I lived on my own, that I did my own thing, I made my own decisions, I pursued my own pleasures, that part of me is dead. And now a new part of me, this white resurrection part of me, is given birth. Like the part of me that Jesus chose to serve his people as a priest, now that old part of me is gone, and now a new part of me is emerging. So
I love that metaphor so much. It ties very much into a concept called palanca. I don't know if you're familiar. It's a concept of death to self. Palanca is the Spanish word for lever. And what does a lever do? You lower the lever down and something else gets raised up, right? So this is literally a physical representation of the death to oneself, the lowering of oneself for the rising up of others.
So we have a reference to Spanish language and culture, but we also had a reference to Game of Thrones.
Yeah. So this is kind of a cool tidbit that you notice when you start to think about these things more in your everyday life. This is a place where Catholic culture has kind of seeped into the world so much, and even bled into pop culture a little bit. For those of you who have watched Game of Thrones, you'll be familiar with the Night's Watch. And the Night's Watch are an order of celibate men who go far into the north and wear all black, defending the world from demons.
Wonder where that came from.
Perhaps a bit more dramatic than what we think of as the priesthood in everyday life, but I mean that is clearly inspired by the clerics.
The Catholic priest is a Halloween costume that you could buy. It has the church's traditions have reached into society. It's become a ubiquitous part of society. This is an example, Regis, of Catholic culture becoming custom.
And Catholic culture is different from dogma, doctrine, that kind of thing. As Father said at the beginning, there's not some dusty book that says all priests will wear black all of the time. Actually, there's very often in kind of the rules and regulations about how a priest should conduct himself and dress. Sometimes there's a little caveat at the end that says, we defer to the cultural norms of the area that the priest is in.
Under the guidance of the bishop.
Absolutely,
Yeah, so
of course.
It always comes back to that bishop and his authority. But yeah, Regis, like you were saying, this is great. This is the example of the church allowing us to live in freedom and creativity. Not everything about being Catholic is regulated. The church defers to local tradition and custom and gives us a lot of leeway. And sometimes that leeway gets more established and it ends up in something that everyone can notice and see.
What's the best kind of culture? A culture where the church blends its own culture with that culture. So instead of, you know, this adversarial relationship in between, no, you must wear this, you must do it this way. The church, our faith, is a church of working together with the cultures that we're serving. It's a beautiful thing.
Friends, post in the comments below, what do you think the priest clerical outfit represents? We want to hear your thoughts on the interpretation of the black suit that the priest wears. And again, we want to give a shout out to Mrs. Tenney and Mrs. Crowick in the St. Bridget School office. We create a lot of work for them sometimes when we go on field trips like this, but they're so good to us.
Yes.
Shout out to you, ladies.
Thank you very much, guys.